Hello and welcome to today's video where we'll continue our talk about services, and this is part 3 out of 3, so the last part of this video. And it's about locally bounded services in Android Studio, presented as always the easy way. In the previous 2 videos, let me just show you, we have talked about blocking the user interface from a started service. This is a service that was running in the main thread. Then about background services that were running in their own thread, but these were again started services. And now we are going to locally bounded services, and these are a bit different, and you will see in the next example exactly how and why. Let me show you the application we'll build today. It's extremely simple with a text view that will display the time and the date, and the button that will say get local time. When you press this button, you will connect to a locally bound service, and you will get back the system time to be displayed on the user interface. And that's all you have to do, or actually all that the application does. But let's go to Android Studio and see exactly how this happens. You will start by opening Android Studio, and you will create a new project that will be a phone and tablet project, and you will select empty activity. Once that project loads, you will see something like this on the screen, where on the left side, you will see the project folder with the files and the folders that make up the project. And here in the middle, you will have 2 files. You will have the main activity Java file that will have the main code of our application, and you have the activity main XML file that will house the user interface. So for this program, which is very simple, we have only 2 views on the user interface. We have the hello world. This is a text view. I will just give it an ID, text view time. And I will just give it a different text. I will say system time here. This will be updated, of course. And I will search for the size attribute. So I can increase the text size to 24, but actually I can make it even larger. Okay, something like this should do. Now, one more thing, we have to add a button. We put this button over here. Keep in mind that this is a constraint view, so you have to set some horizontal constraints for the button. And then I will just give it a vertical constraint. And then having the size attribute still selected here, I can increase the size of the button. 20 should be large enough. And then I can change its ID. I will say btn get time. The text of the button will be changed to get system time. And I don't want it to stay so close to the text view, so I'll give it a bit of clearance. And this should be enough. Actually, one thing that I forgot, just to look for the on-click. For the on-click attribute, I will just give the name of the method to be executed when we press the button, and we will call it on-click get time. Now let's create the service. You go to project, you go to the package, and then you right-click on it. You will say new service, and then click on service. Instead of my service, I will just call this my bounded or my bound service, and you click finish. This is the code which is generated automatically, and what we want to do, we just want to generate one more method. We just right-click, generate, override methods, and we will create the on-bind. We put this as well. We will start by creating a new class, and we will call it, actually, let me just write the code and then I will explain it. What I've done until this point, I've created a new class. I've called it my binder, and this one extends binder, and the only thing it contains, this class has a method. We called it getBoundService, and this returns the current instance of the running service. And this is all that this class has to do. When we go here on top where it says onBind, we have to return this binder that we have just created below. One last thing we have to put here in this service, we need to create a method that will return the time, the system time. And this is how we will do it. What I've done until this point, I've just created a new method, and this method will return a string, and this string will contain the current system time. And I've called it getSystemTime. With this being said, this is all we have to implement in the bound service. It's not much, it's just a simple, very simple example. Now we have to go back in the main activity and add some code over there. We will start here on top, and we will create an instance of the class we have just finished programming. So we'll say my bound service. We keep the same name. This will equal to a new instance of my bound service. Then we have a Boolean variable, and we'll call it isConnected. This will be false because to begin with, our service is not connected. And then we'll just create a service connection, and this will be named again service connection. And when you double click here on service connection, this will be generated automatically. Okay, you can close here. Inside the onServiceConnected, I'll just write the code and then I'll explain it. What I've done until this point, I've just created an instance of the service. I've just created this Boolean variable, which is false to begin with, and an instance of a service connection. Then inside the onServiceConnection or connected, I've used the binder to obtain a current instance of the running service. And then I said that this is true, the connection is true. When onService is disconnected, obviously we change this variable to false. Let's just change it. Next, we have to go inside the onCreate method, and we need to create an intent. And this will be just the regular intent. We've just created a new intent, and we've passed the context of this package and the name of the class to be executed, my bound service. And we use the bind service and the intent to start a new service, and this will be a bounded service. Instead of using start service and the intent, we use this time bind service, and we again provide the intent, indicating the context and the class to be executed. And we use this service connection that we have implemented above over here. And then we use this bind auto create as the context. And the last thing to do is just to write the method which is executed when we press the button to get the time. And this is how we will do it. Okay, so in this method, very simple, we just have the text view that we use to display the time in, and we have to find it by IView to associate it with this variable TV time. And then we use the setText method and the bounded service to access the method inside the getSystemTime that will return the system time, this one. Okay, so this is everything that we have to do. I can just save the entire project, and let's run it to see if it actually does what it's supposed to do. The application has now loaded. I can just zoom in a bit. And as you can see, when I press the button, we will get the system time. Now, this is a very simple example, and I know there is not a lot of interest in this topic. So if a lot of you will ask for a future video, if there will be interest to speak more about services, about bounded services, then I will go into greater details. But for now, this is just an introduction, just for somebody who wants to see this service in action, how you can implement it and how it's run and how it performs. Again, if you guys want to see more of this, let me know in the comment section and I will come back with a future video. If not, thank you for watching. I hope you have learned something new today. I hope this will help you. And until we meet in the next videos, keep practicing, keep learning, and be safe. See you next time.